Welcome to my webinar. Thank you for taking time out from this lovely, slightly rainy Thursday. Okay, so today's session is about how to create EDMs without knowing any code. So you don't really need to know HTML, CSS, and all these like complicated sounding stuff. So I would even say that it's almost as simple as creating a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so I'm going to show you this Beefree.io. I'm not affiliated with them, but I think it's an amazing company and service, and it's free. Okay, so for just a little bit about myself and the EDMs I've created before. So I've mostly created EDMs to promote our ebooks and audiobooks. So especially those that are that have unlimited copies currently. So also promoted the e-magazines, e-newspapers, be it from Press Reader, Libby, or SPH. Actually, these EDMs can yield thousands of loans. So it is actually a very powerful tool that you can actually make full use of. So basically, it's free, and we have tried it and tested it on our own EDM system that we use in TSG. So there's no errors, no issues when we send it out. So it's very easy to use. It's mobile responsive, meaning last time, if you recall, there were many EDMs from anywhere that were just one static image. Mobile responsive is not like that. Mobile responsive is the current modern way to send EDMs. So what happens is that it will auto resize the text, everything according to screen size. You look at it on your laptop, look at it on your phone, it's always optimized to that screen size. So it's searchable in the sense that when you go to your email inbox, you can type in a few words, and if it's inside the EDM, it will come up. Whereas if it's a static image, it won't be searchable. So, so Beefree actually automatically creates mobile responsive EDMs. Okay, so there are many templates provided. You can export as HTML file, which is what you are going to need if you want to send it out through our TSG's EDM system. And of course, you can send test emails. Okay, so I'm going to do a demo for you so that you can see and understand more easily how to create an EDM. Okay, so you may wish to follow along. So I'm going to switch to the browser now. So if you go to beefree.io, okay, you're going to see this page. Okay, so what you're going to see is like start designing. So click on this button, start designing. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to see a whole bunch of templates that you can choose from. So you can actually either choose your favorite template or suggest, so basically there are many you can choose from. I would suggest you turn off the Pro so that you don't see any that aren't available to you at no cost to you. Okay, so yeah, there's many. You can keep scrolling. It will keep loading more and more. Feel free to use the categories here to narrow down your search depending on what you want. Now, I always recommend that you select the layout based on number one, color scheme, and number two, the layout that you want. So don't look at the content, don't look at what it's meant for. Although sometimes that's helpful. Maybe if it's a marketing EDM, maybe it will be the layout is more suitable. But what's more important is you know, what kind of layout do you want? You know, which kind of layout most suits what you want to do. So you may feel that it's very hard to choose at this point. So, but I assure you, after doing a couple of EDMs, you're gonna get very good at it. So, for example, you look at this template, right? The one in the middle here, the go with the flow, that one. So if you look at it and then you're thinking, okay, can you imagine this whole layout to be adapted to your EDM? Can you imagine if you replace the images, you replace the text, it's gonna look like this? Is it nice? Is it pleasing to you? Now, let's go through the three most important buttons, okay, that you have to understand. So, okay, once you select a template, right, you can just click on Get Started, and then you are gonna be brought to a screen where you can start creating or editing your EDM right now. So the three most important buttons that you have to remember in Beefree are Content, Roles, and Settings. So I'm not sure if you can see on the top right corner underneath the blue export button, right? There are these three buttons: Content, Roles, and Settings. So I'm going to go through Settings first, because this is like, if you are familiar with the master slide in PowerPoint, right, that if you do any edits on that slide, it's going to affect the whole presentation, all the every single slide. Yeah, so that's what the settings section does. This is the equivalent. So anything you adjust here will affect the entire EDM. So if you already want to make some quick adjustments, right? For example, you know you're not going to go with black, right? So you can immediately change the color here and etc. So the fonts you can change as well. And then you can change the link color. Okay, what does link color mean? Link color means like when, for example, you want to hyperlink this bunch of text, right? Maybe these 3 words, like click here to go somewhere, right? So link color means like it will be that in that color and underlined. Okay, so to go through the 3 most important buttons, right? So the second button I'll go through for today will be the content button. So if you want to do something, you cannot find it, right? Most likely is in the content or rows button. So when you're feeling lost, just click on either content or rows. So that's why I call them the most important buttons in Beefree. Rows are for adjusting the layout of your EDM, and contents are the building blocks of your EDM. It is recommended that you change the background color to another complementary color like white. Okay, background color, okay, it's quite self-explanatory, right? But how does it differ from the content area background color? So basically, right, in Beefree, right, your content area is not the entire width of what you see here. It is a smaller section. So what happens is that, okay, if let's say the background color is the same as the content area background color, meaning everything is this like a sky blue color, right, in the image that you see here. So everything will be the same color. But what I actually recommend is that you change the background color to something that's different from your content area background color. So so what this does is you can see, you compare if it's all the same color and you compare if it's different. So when I set it to white in this case on this slide, okay, when it's different, right? What it means is that your EDM will look like everything is just for no reason, it's just all in the middle. Yeah, so to me, this looks nicer lah when the background color is different from the content area background color. Now we're going to talk about the important features that you can do under the content button. So the content button, right, when you click on it, you can see all the building blocks of your EDM. If you click on content, right, you'll be able to see that you can actually drag and drop the text button to wherever you want the new text block to be. Okay, so let's say, let's pretend this is a book introduction EDM. Let's pretend this is an author, right? So we can change this image to one of our author's image, and the author you want to feature. So let's say, okay, title is just a header lah. So you can also use title. So let's say, awesome author comes to Singapore, right? I'm just gonna come up with something here lah. Okay, so you can change the text color. Let's change to white. Okay, and then if let's say you want a new text, so another paragraph here, so you can change the color, and then you just type in whatever you want. So it's really very simple. Okay. So if you want to move it around, let's say I want this paragraph to be before this paragraph. So what you do is you click here, you click on that block, that paragraph, and then if you see this plus icon on the right, you just click on it, you drag, and then you can move it to wherever you want. You can move it down, you can move it up. Yeah, you can go crazy with it basically. So that's for the text block. Okay, how to change color? So if you so you just have to click anywhere inside the paragraph or header, and then you can, if you want to change the entire block, right, the color for the entire block, then you can change it from here, text color or link color. Yeah, line height is just the spacing lah. So between the 2 lines, how spaced out is this, a line and all that. Okay, let's say you just want to change one of the words or a few of the words and not the entire paragraph or the entire block, right? So you just have to highlight the text that you want to change, and then you'll see that this editing menu comes up, and then go to text color, click on the arrow next to it, and then you'll be able to change it to whatever color you fancy. Let's say I want to add a new image. What do? You click and drag the image, and then you let it go wherever you want it. Okay, so when it has reached the place that you want it to be at, then you let go. So all you have to do is to actually open your Windows Explorer, find the file that you want to paste here. You just drag the file into this area, and then it will automatically upload, and then in a few seconds you will see your image. Okay, so this is a dummy image that I put here lah. Okay, if you think it's too big, okay, then you just switch off this this button, and then you can auto size it lah. Yeah. So full width on mobile means that, you know, on mobile it may look very small if you do it this way. So you can take the full width on the mobile to make sure that it doesn't look too small on the mobile. It takes some trial and error, but that's how it is. Okay, what if you want to link the image to a certain website or web page? So go to action URL, and then you key in the URL here, let's say our corporate website, and it will work. So do note that this URL is different from this. Don't change this. This one is just, if you change this, nothing will happen lah. But your image also won't get linked, because this is actually the URL where Beefree has automatically uploaded and you know where it has uploaded your image to. So be sure to change it under the action URL. Okay, so that's for image. Next thing is button. Okay, what are buttons? Buttons are basically fancy I call them fancy hyperlinks. So basically they usually link to something. So this is the example of a button, this yellow color play trailer button. So what it does is that it will, when people click on it, people click on your EDM, people click on this button, right? It will lead them to a certain website or yeah, usually for this one, it should lead them to a YouTube page that plays that video lah. So again, we change the action URL to edit the button. So background color means it's basically the color of the whole button. So I'll just change it so that you know why, you understand what I mean. Okay, change it to this means green color, right? So that's the background color. Text color is the color of the text that's on it. Border radius actually means how round the rectangle is. So all the buttons are by default rectangles. You can make them, I guess, ovals. The bigger this number, the rounder the edges will be. So how do you link so let's say you want to point people to your branch Facebook page or your team's Facebook page, or let's say you're from the Chinese team, you want to point them to the Chinese team Facebook page. So how do you do that? So you drag social. Okay, usually it's at the end, the social buttons, right? Yeah, so there's already one here, but just to show you how it looks like to create one yourself, you drag the social button and then you drop it wherever you want it. So I always get very excited when I see the icon collection, because there are so many. You can choose it to however you like. You want multicolor, you want one color, you want white, you want all black. It's all possible. And then don't forget to change the individual URLs here to whatever your branch or your team's Facebook page or Instagram page is. So if there's any you don't want, let's say I don't want Twitter, right? You can just delete. Click on the delete. I don't have LinkedIn, so I delete. So, and you want to add more, just click on add new icon. So we have Medium. We have even Spotify. Let's say you've curated a playlist for your program. Props to you, you deserve an A. So you have YouTube as well. Yeah. So yeah, all of that. And again, all of them are configurable. You change the colors and all. You can change to however you like it to be lah. Okay, so that's for social button. Okay, so video. So let's say you want to add a video here. Okay, somewhere. Let's say, right, oh, you want to, maybe the publisher has a book trailer and you want to add a video. So let's say add it at the top, right? Okay, so add a video URL. So so you have to key in the video URL in this field, and then it will show the video. Currently, from what I know, it doesn't support uploading of videos from your computer. So basically what this means is that your video, right, if you want to include a video in Beefree, right, you have to already upload it on YouTube somewhere first, and then you get the URL and paste it here. So that's just one of the limitations. Okay, so rows. Okay, let's say, right, you know, I kind of like this layout, but I want to feature more books, let's say. I want one more row here. So how do I do that? Okay, so you click on rows, right? And then you see that there are so many layouts available for you to choose from. So I'm not sure if it's clear to you, but okay, so basically each block, right, represents something that you can put inside, be it a text, an image, a button. Usually it's text and images lah. Yeah. So let's say if you want a row that looks like this, right, that will eventually look like this. What you do is you go to rows and you select, okay, how many boxes are there? There are 3 boxes, right? So I select one with 3 boxes. And then you can even decide like how whether you want the boxes to be all the same size, or you want them to, some of them smaller, some of them bigger, or one of them is bigger. So for this one, we want all of them to be the same size. So we click on this 3 box row and then we drag it here. So, okay, it says no content here, right? So very free tells you that you have to drag new content from content panel. So that's fine. We just click on content again. And then we drag in an image, we drag in text, and then we edit the text. Hello, hello. Okay, and then we can add in the images that we want. Sorry, I only have this one book cover. Okay, so yeah, that's how you add a new row. So yeah, so basically if you want to add like a social media, the logo and all that, right? Usually it's like that lah. It's these 2 boxes, one long, one short. Okay, let's say there's already so many images and you're happy with this layout, right? But you just want to replace the image. So actually it's the same thing. It's just that it's a one less step. You don't have to drag in this image button. All you have to do is to drag in the new image you want, and then you drag it here over the image that you want to replace. So you see, I've already replaced this image. So let's say this row, you're so happy with it. You want 20 of this row. Okay, all it takes is 20 clicks. So you click on this row and then you see this 2 squares icon, right? So you click on it, it will duplicate. So if you click on the trash can, it will delete. So it's simple as that. And the last few things is, okay, how to undo, very important, right? The next two most important buttons are the undo button. Okay, so on the bottom left, you see these 2 small arrows, right? So one is undo and one is redo. So these are for undoing like one step by one step. If you want to go back further, click on this clock icon just next to the arrows, and then you get to access the history right from the moment you open this template. So let's say I want to go back to revert to this point in my edits. So it will go back to that point now. It's like a version history. Okay, how to export. So once you're happy with your EDM, right? I recommend first for you to do something very, very important, which is first to send a test EDM, okay, or do a preview. So what preview does is that like it will show you how it looks like, is how it's supposed to look like on the desktop or mobile lah. So what's really cool is that if you do it on mobile, right? So it will show you like, you see, everything auto organizes. So this is what we mean by mobile responsive. So instead of, you know, these 3 images, they were in one row on desktop, right? But on mobile, they are one by one, because on mobile, the screen is smaller. You want to see them bigger. So that's for preview, but always also send yourself a test email. So what this does is that if you click on this aeroplane icon next to the binoculars, right? Binoculars means preview. This paper airplane means send test email. So you can key in your own personal email address. Please don't use your work email address, because Outlook messes up everything. And also it will, because we have no, we can't download external images. So it won't be accurate if you send to your work email. So you must send to your personal email, your Gmail, your Hotmail, and so on. Yeah, and then you send it to yourself, test all the links, and then you can export. So to export, click on this blue button, and then you download. So this is the only option available for free lah. So you download and you get a zip file with the HTML and all your images. So what if you want to like, so this HTML zip file is when you is for when you are ready to send it to my colleagues at TSG to send out the EDM already. But what if you want to send for approval? Okay, aside from the test email, right? You can send the test email to your boss. You can also PDF it on your own. So Beefree doesn't allow you to PDF for free, but you can do it yourself for free. So what happens is you just need to download the zip file and then you extract it. And then there will only be one file that's not in a folder. So open that file, then you right click, print as PDF. So I've actually detailed all these steps in the slides. Okay, so yeah, this part. Okay, so the last thing before our first Q&A part 1 is accessing your saved EDM. So on Beefree, everything auto save every 1 second it will save. And then what happens is that you just need to go back to beefree.io, and then you have to wait until the whole page loads, and then you'll see this on the top right hand corner. At the very top, you see this continue editing button. So if you click on that, it will take you right back where you left off. But don't do this on incognito mode. I don't think it will work if you close the browser while in incognito mode. But on a normal browser that's not on incognito mode, it should bring you right back where you saved it, even if you close the tab. So let's take a quick look at the Q&A. Okay. Okay, what is the best platform? Using Microsoft Edge, but it didn't appear. Okay, so the thing is that I think you might be using it on your SOE. So on the SOE, the Beefree will not appear. It doesn't work properly. So you have to do it on an internet machine. I have not used Microsoft Edge to try this on internet machine, but I always use Chrome and it works perfectly. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, are we limited to the role templates provided? Is it possible to customize? Yes, you can customize. So you can customize by adding new roles or changing the text, changing the images to however you like. So basically just pick a layout that you kind of like and then customize from there. So Canva, how different do you think it is from Beefree? I think it's quite similar, but for Canva, there's not so much of dragging and dropping. So to me, Canva and Beefree, they have different objectives. So Canva is for you to design like posters and so on, whereas Beefree is for EDMs. I often use the two of them in tandem. For example, I use Canva to design an image that I want to use in Beefree. So yeah, the two can work very well together. Will there be a watermark on the EDM? Very good question. No. So that's why I'm recommending you good stuff, right? Okay, would you recommend a specific content area width? So Daryl, usually I don't change the default area width, but you can set it yourself. You can expand it. Or basically content area width just means that like is this area, basically this whole part lah. So whereas yeah, so if let's say you want to have more space, right, you can increase and then everything will enlarge. Yeah. So usually I just go with the default one because I assume that the designer of the template has already set the optimal one for us. But yeah, feel free to adjust it yourself. I don't have any recommended one. So it's more of a trial and error for you. What does a pro version entitle the user to? The pro version allows you to save multiple templates at the same time, and the saving is a lot. It is a lot more. I feel a lot safer when I use that saving lah, because you can go in and see the files, the different templates that you have used, and I think it also allows you to do more exports, and then everything here, like copy HTML, create PDF, all these are available to you for free. There are also more templates available in the pro version. So yeah. So if I want to use Beefree for something like collection publicity promo on FB, is there a template that will ensure that the outcome will be Facebook friendly? I have never used Beefree to create. I think for this one, you may need to use Canva instead, because Beefree, right, you can look at it as like a mini web page that is creating. So you can't really post the entire web page onto Facebook lah. So I wouldn't recommend Beefree for this use case actually. So Beefree is really more for EDMs, meaning emails that you send out to promote stuff. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Zara. Is there a time limit for save version? 5 days later, is it still there? I've come back to it 1-2 days later. I did not try 5 days later. So if you want to do that, right, if you're only going to come back to it 5 days later, I would recommend that you export the HTML first, just in case. Because later as it might be, at least you have a backup of how it's supposed to look like. Then if needed, if it's not there anymore, then you can recreate it. So yeah. Okay, can it be linked to files such as Word doc with, sorry, can it be linked to files such as Word doc or Excel sheet or only URL? To my knowledge, you can only link to URL, but if you really want to link it to a Word document or Excel sheet, you can always upload it on Google Docs if it's not confidential, of course, if it's not, high security. You can upload it on Google Docs and then you can make that document available to anybody, adjust the permissions, so anybody who has a link can see it. And then you can link your EDM to that file, that Google Doc file, which will have the URL. So you can use Google Drive for this purpose. Does it save your work with every change that you make? Yes, it does. However, if you made a lot of changes, you're really fast, you made a lot of changes within 1 second, right? Then I would recommend you wait for 1 second. So it will tell you whether it's been saved or not. So you can see here that there's a draft saved. So when it's blinking means it's saving. So just wait a little while. Okay, other useful features, right? Okay, so all these are actually quite important as well, especially if you want to adjust how your EDM looks like. So the first one, padding, very important. Okay, padding basically means the spacing between stuff, between anything. So something that's next to it, something that's above it, below it. So that's what it adjusts. So for example, let's say I feel that this button and this paragraph of text, they are too close to each other. So I can adjust the padding on either one. So I can adjust the padding. Let's say I adjust padding on this block, right? So all sides just means it will increase the spacing on all the sides evenly. Otherwise, if you be, let's say, more towards a certain side, then you can click turn on the more options button, and then you can adjust everything to your liking. Yeah. So that's for padding. So feel free, you definitely need to adjust the padding at least for a couple of things before you export the EDM. So just play around with it. I think it's quite self-explanatory, especially since the moment while you're adjusting it, it shows you what it's doing. So it's like live feedback. Okay, so that's for padding. Alt text. Okay, alt text is very important. So for alt text is what is a description for every single image. So this only applies to images. So when you click on a specific image, right, you can see the alt text. Okay, I think this is maybe not. Yes. So alternate text, right? So you have to, it's highly recommended that you fill in something here, especially if the very first thing in your EDM, the very topmost thing, if it's an image, right, the alternate text might be the thing that appears in your email preview. So like, when you go to your inbox, right, you see the subject and then you see a few characters after that. So that's the part. You see that this new device signed in, right? This is what might appear if the very first thing in your EDM is an image. So alt text is very important. Also very important for people who have their eyesight impaired. So if they're using a screen reader, the screen reader will actually describe the image to them. So nowadays, a lot of people recommend using alt text as a compulsory. So, okay, unsubscribe. Okay, this is just a reminder. So for emails that you are sending out through TSG, my department, known as TDS before the reorg, so you should include an unsubscribe button, row. So all you need to do is to create a new empty row, and then you add text, and then you type unsubscribe and center align it. That's all. You don't need to hyperlink it, because my colleagues at TSG will do that. Will do the coding. I think clicking on line height, that's why it's not working. Okay, sorry. Alignment of the text is here. Yeah. So maybe try not to make it invisible, we don't want people to unsubscribe, but then sometimes they're even more unhappy if they cannot unsubscribe. So yeah. Hit unsubscribe. Okay, preview on mobile, I've actually gone through this just now. So basically use the binoculars button. And hide on desktop mobile. Okay, this is a really cool feature, guys, but this is a very advanced feature. So it's okay if you don't feel comfortable or you never get around to using it. So what it does is that, let's say, for example, okay, I've done this before for my press reader EDM. So example, right, install press reader app. Okay, but the thing is, right, this button is useless to people who are accessing it. Not say useless, but not so useful for people who are accessing it from desktop, right? So you want to hide this on the desktop. So basically what happens is that it won't reflect here, but you reflect in the preview. What happens is that if the system detects that somebody is opening this email from a computer, then they won't show this button. Whereas, yeah, so you can do hide on mobile also lah. So why hide on mobile? Usually if I have separate buttons for desktop and mobile, right, then I'll use the hide on mobile. Otherwise, I don't really use it. Yeah. Oh, for example, okay, if let's say you have different, so if the person is let's say accessing this EDM from a computer, right? Maybe you just want to lead them to the FAQ site about press reader, right? So you can hide this button on mobile so that on mobile, they'll only see the install press reader app. So that's a really cool feature. Okay, so don't refresh the browser before it auto saves. So if this draft saved is still blinking or it says saving, right? You saw that, right? So if it says saving and it's blinking, don't close the browser or you may lose your changes. Sometimes even when it says draft save and you close it, it may still prompt you lah. Yeah, right? But most of the time it is saved. If you don't feel safe, just export first. Okay, don't edit multiple templates at once. Okay, I have not tested this out, but theoretically, I think Beefree can only save one template at a time. So if you, let's say, edit this template, right, then after that you go on and edit another template, right, you only save the later one. So beware. Okay. So just a few quick tips for successful EDM. So when you send out your test email, please check the links on both desktop and mobile. So check it on a computer and check it on your phone. Other than the links, you also need to see if it works properly and looks properly on both platforms. Usually no problem, but just check. Okay, maximize availability. So please try to choose ebooks. If you're promoting ebooks, right, try to choose those with unlimited copies. So yeah, and then, or if it's not unlimited copies, maybe one with at least 100 copies lah. And 100 copies available means not alone, because our EDMs go out to hundreds of thousands of people. It will be at least a few tens of thousands who open it, and then they're gonna be upset lah if they can't find. I mean, they may not have a very good experience if they can't borrow the book and have to be on a waiting list. Okay, maximize diversity. I have received one email before that I featured all the books in my EDM are all by male authors or white male authors, even worse. So after that, I was really mindful to try to diversify in terms of the book selection, in terms of the authors and where they come from. So mix popular titles with hidden gems. So the popular titles, right, will actually, when something is recognizable, it will actually make the person feel feel like, hey, you know what you're doing, because I've seen this book before. So it's a psychological thing. But of course, we should try to include more hidden gems, because we are librarians, we try to expand their reading diet. Okay, minimize calls to action. A call to action is usually a button. Basically, a call to action is something you want the person to do. Let's say register for your program or borrow this book. So try not to have too many buttons, especially at the start of the EDM, which ask them to do different things, because they might end up doing nothing. So it is best to have just one clear call to action or one primary call to action, and the rest are secondary, which you can de-emphasize in terms of the color of the button, or maybe even not using buttons, just link the text itself to the URLs. I finished my presentation, so let's see what questions you guys have. Is it possible to have additional fonts? It is limited to the fonts listed, I'm afraid. Yeah, but it's quite a big selection. So far I've not had any issues. My favorite one is Lato. Okay, can templates be saved, shared between users and colleagues? So Jasmine, you are right, it's not possible for the free version. So you have to get the pro version for that. Okay, what would you say is the biggest flaw for Beefree? I would say that I sometimes don't feel very safe with the auto save. So but it's actually worked for me most of the time. It just failed me like once or twice. But you know, once is enough for you to, yeah. But it never failed at all for my teammates. So I think it's just me. Yeah. Okay. Can we have a link on the FB? Sorry, what is a BF link? Not Beefree link on FB to bring users there. Yeah, so you can actually include a link using the social media button on your EDM to link to bring your users to your Facebook page. For the other way around, I don't think so because yeah, there's no link per se. Your EDM is hosted somewhere, but it's not. I don't think Beefree shares with us the link where it's hosted. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, the best font so that mother tongue text don't appear as losses. I'm sorry, I don't know. I've never tried this out. So yeah, perhaps maybe worst case scenario, you have to save it as an image and put it there. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's all the questions. Over to you, Indra.
We hope this session has been very beneficial to you, and do try the software out. That's the only way for you to know its full suite of functions and capabilities. So on behalf of Pixel Studio, I'd like to thank our guest speaker, May. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for conducting the sharing today. Very useful. Thanks, May. And thanks to the PXS team members for running the PXS Academy programs. So with that, if there's no question, I'll thank you for joining us and stay safe. Take care. Bye. Thank you.